Hi, this is Jonathan McHugh. We're back at Q-Score, the 4th Annual Music Supervisor Awards. We're sitting here with Paul Broucek, my old friend. We used to work together at New Line Cinema, shared many a film, many a cocktail, many a good time. Paul is the head of music at Warner Brothers Pictures, and he's up for Studio Department of the Year. They had many big films this year, including a little one called Lord of the Rings and Gravity, which Alphonse Cuarón directed and has won a bunch of awards for, and may even win himself an Oscar. And just a little plug, my friend Andy Nicholson is up for Production Designer of the Year for that film, so good luck to you, Andy, on that. Paul, tell us about working on Gravity and working with Stephen Price on that film.
Well, the world gets smaller as you work in it, in this field of film music or television film music. And Stephen Price is a London-based music editor / composer. And 12 years ago, when we were staffing up on Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, and Return of the King, we needed some local guys to cut the audio before we mixed it, because we recorded so much music. And Stephen was part of that team, was great. I knew he was a composer. And then a few years ago, I'm working with Alfonso Cuarón on Gravity. He needs to start putting a temp dub together, and he said, I've got this guy, he's a music editor, but he's also a composer. What do you think? I said, who is it? He said, Stephen Price. I go, let's give it a shot. And
that's a small world.
It's a very small world, and it was a trust factor that we could enter in. I knew that Stephen was a quality guy, and he was a hard worker, and he would do his best. And at the very least, we would get something good out of it. And he worked on it for almost 2 years, and 1 year very intensely. And the proof's in the pudding. I mean, I've worked on it, and I'm pretty blown away by this.
He has a good chance to win an Oscar for that, doesn't he?
I'm not superstitious. Some people are. You're not supposed to say this. I think it's really a good chance. He won at the BAFTAs a couple weeks ago, and fingers crossed.
And Lord of the Rings, obviously you worked on that for a long time. My old assistant and your ace in the hole, Aaron Scully, one of your main people in your department. Talk about the process of getting that score together and what it takes and the trips back and forth to New Zealand.
Well, Lord of the Rings was its own thing, and we did the lion's share of the recording in London, the production. This time around, restarting 10 years later with Peter Jackson and team, the technical requirements of now Peter wants to do 48-frame, digital 3D, all this other stuff. There was no way that we could get him to come to London to be with us to score. We tried it. We put all the team back together, but the one missing ingredient was no Peter Jackson on Hobbit 1 a couple years ago. So we quickly realized that was a deficit, and he was so important. He's a really great director in every way, and he guides a composer, he guides the whole team. We know what he needs. So last year it was a bit of a gamble, but it was also a gamble we had to take, and we put together a large remote recording event in Wellington Town Hall, where we had done the first 5 days of scoring for Fellowship back in 2001. That being, we were presenting at Cannes Film Festival, and we didn't have time to go to London. So we knew we'd been there. We knew the sound of the room, but now we had to do the full score. And with Aaron Scully as my, great partner, we spent a lot of time back and forth just setting it up, bringing in our chief engineer from Abbey Road, who's been involved with the whole thing, Pete Cobbin, and Kirsty Wally from London, and some other people from the U.S. and the UK and New Zealand, and put it together, and it was very efficient. It was really great, and we had our director. And Peter Jackson said to me, that's the best scoring experience I've ever had because I was able to be at every session.
And by the way, right there, a big-time director like Peter Jackson compliments you like that, you know you're doing the job. So shout-outs to your department. You just lost one of your main guys, Carter Armstrong, who I actually met with today on a movie, and he's now running the music at Lionsgate. Tell us about some of the other people that make your department hum.
Don't ask me to be unbiased. We have the best department. I've never been shy about being, falsely modest here. I inherited a good team. I got Aaron Scully back, who I'd been with for years at New Line. Darren Higman, who's worked on the label side at Atlantic and Warner Music Group, and now in Warner Brothers, is the best partner I could ask for. Along with Nikki Sherrod, who came out of the Danny Bramston camp. Aaron with you, Darren on his own with Laura, Nikki with Danny Bramston. We've all been independent music supervisors, and I think that's part of the story that I'm proud to be involved with this event tonight and to support Maureen Crow and everybody here that's trying to build this guild into something, because I came from this community. So
And the big show that he spent a lot of years on and cut his teeth on, Baywatch, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about creating music for that show, what that was like.
You know, early days, my old partner Evian Clean and I were...
Who's also a nominee tonight for Behind the Candelabra.
You know, he should win for everything. He's awesome. We were working for Grant Tinker's company at the time, late 80s now, GTG. We'd had a series called TV 101 that only... cool show, a lot of music. It was a high school-based show, so we licensed a lot of stuff. Stuart Copeland did our pilot. We had Todd Rundgren do series. I mean, we were trying to color outside the box. Didn't get picked up. We're sitting around thinking, well, that's the end of our career. Got a call. Hey, they called us boys at the time because we were younger than they were. And they said, boys, come on over. We're doing a pilot about lifeguards on the beach in Southern California, and they have a lot of music, and we need your help. And that was the start of Baywatch. And we got involved with Greg Bonin, the lifeguard who created the series, and his whole team, and I worked on it for 5 seasons, and Evian went on and finished it for, I think, all 7 seasons.
So think about that arc right there, from Baywatch to the head of music at one of the biggest studios in the world, Warner Brothers Pictures. Paul Broucek, a nominee tonight for his team for Best Film Music Department. Thanks for coming out, Paul.
Thanks, John. Always good to talk to you.
For more Q Score, please check us out at emPOWERme.tv to find out what goes on behind the curtain and how the film and TV music gets made. It happens right here. Tune in.